This week, as the country began to process and assimilate the events in San Bernardino and continued the events to process the events in Paris, terrorism really has reshaped the whole paradigm of the presidential election. It's made it much more like the election of '04, where terrorism was the overwhelming issue, giving the Republicans a huge advantage. Within the Republican nominating process, Trump and Cruz have emerged very strongly as a result. Carson is fading, and Rubio is fading as well. In the recent New York Times CBS national poll, Trump surged to 36% of the vote, up 5 or 10 points from the last poll, mainly on the strength of the terrorism issue and on the strength of his proposal about excluding Muslims from the United States, which the media criticized but the voters liked. Cruz jumped into second place, having been in fourth place with 16% of the vote. Carson, who's on the down elevator, dropped to 13% and probably will drop more. And Rubio, surprisingly, came in at only 9%, a loss of 5 points for him. So here's what's going on. When the New York Times poll asked, how confident are you that this candidate will be effective in fighting terror? Trump got 40%, very confident. Cruz got 30%, very confident. Rubio got only 20%, very confident. And Carson got only 12%, very confident. And that's increasingly the order of finish and the way the race is shaping up. I think you can expect Carson to drop to fourth and then even lower, but because he just doesn't make it in an environment where terrorism is the main issue. But there are two surprising things. Number one, how Trump has been able to pivot on the issue and use it to gain a commanding lead, whereas before he had been more or less static in the mid-20s. And secondly, how Cruz has opened up distance and daylight between himself and Rubio, who were originally conceived of as kind of the Bobbsey twins locked in a two-way duel for second place. Cruz has scored a decisive advantage in that, largely because of his position on fighting terror. Where does it go from here? Well, we don't know. Trump clearly has the lead and clearly could win the nomination. If anything happens to Trump, the dominant second choice among his voters overwhelmingly is Cruz. And we can expect Cruz to continue to rise because most of the votes that Ben Carson is losing are evangelicals who go to Cruz. In effect, you can conceive of the Carson and Trump candidacies as kind of bank accounts where would-be Cruz voters are currently registered. But as Carson falls apart, they get released into the system. So look for this to increasingly become a Trump-Cruz race. Even though they like each other, praise each other, and don't fight each other, they'll increasingly be pivoted into running against each other. And at the same time, the establishment is desperate for a candidate, and they're increasingly turning from Bush to Rubio, but that dog isn't hunting either. Now, will Trump be able to maintain his lead? I believe this may come down to Iowa, because I don't think that Trump can easily survive a defeat. I think if he starts losing, his supporters will start flaking. On the other hand, if he solidly wins Iowa, he's well on the road to the nomination. There are two polls in Iowa. One shows Trump winning and the other shows Cruz winning. So we'll see how that shakes out. Thanks for watching.